Assalamu alaikum. In the previous lecture, we have discussed on the types of boiler. We have discussed on a superheater, and then we have seen how how the water is converted to steam, and then how the steam is pressurized in the superheater, and then how it is moving towards your turbine, and how the turbine rotates. What are the different types of turbine? In this lecture, we will be discussing on condenser, cooling towers, then we will be discussing on alternators, and then exciter, and then we will be moving towards your efficiency thing, and then there is some part of precipitator also. So this is our thermal power plant, and we have already discussed on this. So we'll be talking on your condenser and what the condenser does, and how it what are the main functions of condenser. So as the name suggests, it condenses your steam and converts it to water. Okay, but that is not only the function. The other part, there are many other functions also. So the one of the important functions is that here I have already told that the steam is at very high pressure. Okay, so pressure is very high here. So this pressure is high, and if the steam needs to flow from here and then it goes to condenser, so we also always know that if an air travels, natural air travels, it's like it flows from higher pressure to lower pressure. Okay, so here this part, the steam is at higher pressure, so if it needs to travel through turbine, it this condenser have needs to create a zone of low pressure. Pressure should be low. Okay, so this is the first major function, or uh, major requirement for a condenser. So it needs to create a low pressure zone at the at this level. Okay, so if you want to define a condenser, it you can say it is a device that creates a low pressure zone so that the steam can travel from higher pressure to lower pressure, and then it can move your turbine. If the turbine moves, then it will be moving your rotor. Okay, so this is the major function of a condenser. And next, the condenser also condense the steam and converts into water, and then this water though have some heat. Okay, so you can directly feed this water to your boiler, because as it is converted into heat, as it is converted to water, and then you can directly feed it to boiler. So but they you can also take out the heat and convert it into water complete at lower temperature. You can change the temperature of the you can lower the temperature level. Okay, so those. So in the previous slide, we have discussed on condenser, and here we will be discussing on cooling towers. So if you are seeing the figure, cooling towers are right below the condenser. Okay, so here they work together to lower the temperature of the steam. Now the steam which is coming out of the turbine has heat energy, and it needs to get exchange its heat. So there is a direct contact. This cooling tower pumps in the outside air and gives a direct contact uh, with the steam, so that the steam can exchange its energy and gets converted into water. So this is the function of your cooling tower. So there are different types of cooling towers. uh, these are, you can write it down. These are natural draught cooling towers. Then there, and the next is forced draught, DRAUGHT cooling towers. Okay, draught. And third is induced draught cooling towers. So these are the different types of cooling towers. Now, after this, once the turbine is rotated, once the turbine rotates your alternator, the rotor gets rotated, and we have in the interaction classes also we have discussed that why alternator is required here, to put a frequency constant. Okay, because it runs at ns. Now this ns, you also know the formula of ns, that is 120 f by p. Okay, 120 f by p. So so your here your rotor speed or the synchronous speed is depends on, it depends on your, has a inversely relation of with the pole. So you in a present scenario, or you can say that the practical way, the poles generally, the generator which are used have poles of 2 or 4. Okay, two pole motor or a two pole generator or four pole generators are present. So if two pole generators are used, the speed will be at 3000 rpm, and if four pole it is 1500 rpm. Okay, so these are the two types of these are the two different pole, different types of poles which are used in alternator. Now the next is your exciter. Here this exciter, what is an exciter? So exciter is basically a small dc generator. Okay, small dc generator. So this generator uh, produces a dc current, and this is used to excite the stator, sorry, this is used to excite the rotor field. Okay, this is used to excite the rotor field. So this is also called as pilot exciter. We generally prefer using pilot exciter. You will read it in synchronous machines. Okay, so this is the exciter. And one more thing is the right now the recent areas where uh, this where the thermal power energy uh, is more concerned regarding the environmental issues. So they are developing a precipitator. So this what is a precipitator? It actually, the whatever the gases which comes out of the thermal power plant, it pollutes the environment. So we need to take down, or we need to take out the dust particles from the flue gases that is coming out of the boiler, and before putting it into the environment. Okay, so that the those particles that are present in the flue gases have electrical properties. So they are attracted towards the charge. Okay, so once those dust particles which are attracted towards the charge can be removed by electrostatic precipitator. Okay, so we put an electrostatic precipitator. It is nothing but a device that runs in that produces an electric field, and which makes the dust particles that are going out of the flue gas, and that sticks to that uh, uh, that sticks that get attracted towards that field, and then sticks there, and it stays in down it, rather than injecting it to the environment. So generally the voltage of that electric precipitator works at very high voltage, that is 30 kilovolt. Okay, so just remember the value of 30 kilovolt. They can ask what is the minimum voltage. So this is, it works generally at and it is placed between your uh, combustion chamber and chimney. Okay, so here it is a chimney, and a combustion chamber is this part, whole part is your combustion chamber, so it is placed in between these two. Okay, so we'll be talking on the efficiency of your thermal power plant or steam power station. Okay, so the efficiency is quite low compared to the hydel power plant or nuclear power plant. It's approximately 29%. Okay, and it varies from different power plant to power plant. Okay, so it varies from 25 to 25 to 50%. Okay, so the highest you can get 50%, not more than that. So how we are defining your efficiency? So if you are thinking of define the definition, it is a ratio of your mechanical energy transmitted to the shaft and upon the heat combustion of the coal. Now here we are talking on mechanical energy. Okay, so you should know that this is the mechanical energy, and mechanical energy is still the coal is converted into steam and then it runs your turbine. It is not from once the coal is get heated and it goes to the turbine, that is from boiler and then to the turbine. We are not including electrical part here from generator. So if you are calculating your energy of a synchronous alternator, you are calculating it separately, so we are not including that thing here. So that's why the thermal energy, or in your mechanical terms if you are talking, it is the efficiency of your boiler and it is the efficiency of your turbine. So the thermal efficiency is depending on these two factors. It is not including your electrical side, not including your efficiency of your generator. So if you are including the efficiency of your generator, then you need to include the electrical output, and you need to divide it with the amount of coal, and these two must be in terms of heat. Okay, so because you are changing the heat energy and converting it into electrical quantity, so you must have an equivalent. So this electrical output is in kilowatt, this electrical output is in kilowatt, and your combustion will be in calories. Okay, kilocalories you can say. So you must convert this kilowatt into calories to calculate your efficiency, overall efficiency. So you can say that the overall efficiency is also a multiple of your thermal efficiency and electrical efficiency. We will check a numerical on this, and then we'll end the first a part of this unit. Okay. This is one of our first numerical. Now if you see, just read the numerical part and then we'll proceed forward. Here it says that the thermal and the electrical efficiency of a 100 megawatt plant, 100 megawatt steam station has is 30% and your 92%. Okay, so this is the efficiency. 30% is of thermal and 92% is of electrical. Okay, so next sentence says the coal used has a calorific value of 6400 kilocalorie per kg. Now I have all in the first lecture I have discussed about the different types of coal. Okay, so you should understand what are the different types of coal, and the types of coal have are the best coal is peat. Okay, peat peat coal, and then you go for peat. Okay, then there is a bituminous, then there is semi bituminous, then anthracite, then super anthracite. So these are the different types of coals that are present, and this is the best quality coal. Peat is the best quality coal because it has very high calorific value. How we are discussing calorific value? I know you might have heard this term in physics in class 12, calorific value. So this calorific value, how you are rating it, it is kilocalorie per kg. So this peat produces uh, produces more kilocalorie heat per kg. If you are considering, if you are taking 1 kg and if you are keeping that as standard, the peat will produce more uh, more heat. So that's how your calorific value suggests the amount of heat produced per kg. Okay, so here if you are seeing, the coal has a calorific value of 6400 kilocalorie, and per supply of full load rated capacity of coal consumption in kg per hour, what would be the approximate answer? So what you need to understand here, they are asking what the capacity, the coal consumption capacity they want. Okay, in what? In kg per hour. So the thermal power plant has a capacity of 100 megawatt, and it has an efficiency of these two, and it is using a calorific value of 6400 kilocalorie. So they are asking the coal consumption per kg. Okay, they are asking about the coal consumption per kg. So first we need to find out the what is the overall efficiency of our plant. So as you know that overall efficiency is thermal efficiency and multiplied by your electrical efficiency. So if you calculate, it is 30% and here 92%. So if you check it, convert it into your percentage value, divided by 30 divided by 100, you will get zero point 0.3, and 0.92 you will get 0.276. Okay, then we need to know how much is the amount of heat or energy generated in kilowatt hour. This quantity is kilowatt hour in electrical terms. Okay, so that's what I was talking in the previous slide, that first you need to know about the energy in kilowatt hour and then convert it into kilocalories. Okay, you are dealing with two units. Remember one thing, if you are discussing these problems, you must know about these two units, kilowatt hour and kilocalorie. Okay, so you will require about these things. So we will be discussing on kilocalorie. Now once as you can see, it is producing 100 megawatt of power. Okay, and we are converting that 100 megawatt of power for 1 hour. So this is 100, and then in if you are converting it into kilowatt hour, you need to have to multiply 3 to the power 10 to the power 3. Okay, so that will be giving you 10 to the power 5 kilowatt hour. So this is the energy that this plant is generating per hour. Okay, in 1 hour, completely in 1 hour, not per hour, in 1 hour. So this you need to remember about this, that 1 kilowatt hour energy is 860 kilocalorie. Okay, 1 kilowatt hour is 860 kilocalorie. So we have converted our electrical energy is 10 to the power 5 kilowatt hour. So we need to convert that into kilocalorie. So if you are this much is the amount of heat that is generated from in kilocalorie. So 10 to the power 5 into 6, 860 kilocalorie. Now we know that the overall efficiency we have discussed that heat equivalent in terms of electrical output and divided by the combustion. So we already know the overall efficiency, and we already know the heat equivalent in electrical output. Okay, so we will be finding out the consumption of coal, heat consumption of coal. Okay, so if you put the formula like this, 0.76, it is from the first part here, and then you can put it from 10 to the power 4 here. If you check this, you will get the answer. You will get heat combustion. So heat combustion will be 311.94 kilocalorie. Okay, so right now we are discussing in kilocalorie. Okay, and then for the consumption of coal per hour. So this is the amount of heat, this is the amount of heat we require. And as we know that we are using 64,000 kilocalorie per kg. So we need to produce this. So this kilocalorie and this kilocalorie cuts down, and this kg goes up. Okay, this kg goes up. So your final answer will be 48690 kg per hour. Okay, in 1 hour you require this much amount of coal. So your answer will be answer C. Okay, option C. So here we will be ending our thermal power plant. You will be getting some questions on this only, these types of questions, so you need to remember everything. Okay, thank you.